Hi there, and welcome to episode 126 of the ADHD Adults podcast. I'm James Brown, the man who decided by mistake to start a podcast a while back. And as usual, I'm joined by Dr. Alex Connor, who's since decided he wants to subtly change the podcast to one on bird watching or castles, I don't know. And Mrs ADHD, who can't decide a fucking thing. Alex, hi.
Hi. No, hello. No, wait. What's up? No. Good day.
What is happening?
Can't decide, Sam. Can't decide.
Oh. Oh, well done. That was good.
Thank you,
Well,
thank
it wasn't good, but
No.
you made an effort.
Yeah, I tried my best.
Yeah. Is that your best? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mrs ADHD, hi.
Hello. Hi.
Brilliant.
Alex.
I've already said
Thank
hello.
you, James. The fact that Spotify automatically shows our faces hasn't hemorrhaged.
No.
What?
No. Alex was about to say that you've jumped in again because you took longer than 1 nanosecond.
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep us on track.
Oh God.
I know. I get that, but now now what's happened is we're behind being on track.
I can see that.
The irony.
But
I always, James, I've got to point this out to people that Sam's MO when we've got like a set limit of time is to think, well, you can just literally read out the podcast script, and that would be the same as doing it. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
but that's.
Yeah, usually there's a little pause, and James says, "Alex, what about how are you?" Again.
Yeah.
So far 125 times.
Yeah, or I don't, and Alex's gag is, "I'm excellent, thank you, James," because. But anyway, that's a good 2 minutes of podcast wasted. So let's crack on.
It's all right. We can edit that in post. We've got a tech guy. I'm excellent, thank you, James. Thanks for asking. The fact that Spotify automatically now shows our faces on the video. That hasn't hemorrhaged any listeners as predicted by everyone. We think it might be morbid curiosity. Whatever it is, the numbers are high, and one of those numbers sent us a letter.
Your face doesn't hemorrhage people, it hemorrhoids people, Alex.
I like that. It's good. That's right, James. The letter's from Robert from Kidderminster. Sort of. It says, I listened to your last episode on borderline personality disorder, and I noticed that neither James or Sam had this one. Did you think about marking that occasion as that's the first time that's happened since the episode on ADHD and sobriety? We did, Robert, yes, but then we realised James's personality disorder is just far from borderline. We've had a real letter. Can I read it out, James?
No.
Thank you.
No.
Sorry. I copied 2 by mistake.
Yeah, it's 2 letters.
Is there now ironically a decision to make about which one to read out? And as it's cognitive, it could take forever. Just read them both.
Just read them both. I'm sorry.
And I know why as well. It's because it's soft marketing. Awful. First one is from Masked Harbinger, which is to the 3 of us, that says, I know you stupid fuckers are bad at taking compliments, but your podcast got me through diagnosis with so many laughs. I accidentally woke my wife up with barely suppressed giggling in the middle of the night. Also, I think I was your first listener in Vietnam, but now I've told others about it, so there's more of us. Also, the ADHD Adults Discard community, and it does say Discard, which I adore, is filled with absolutely brilliant and delightful weirdos, creating an insanely safe space, and I love it. Thank you, Master Harbinger. I love that. I'm going to read out the wrong...
loved that one.
It's brilliant. I know you stupid fuckers are bad at taking compliments. It's a brilliant opening line. And the next letter, Sam, is from the wrong shell, which is, I'm loving ADHD Towers. I've never seen it. It doesn't say that. That's me. I didn't get a notification yesterday, so just seen it and watched it. Now I really want a hoodie with I can't speak to people on it. I'll pop back into my hoodie and t-shirt hyperfocus. I think I love pigeons would be nice too. On a practical note, James, I don't usually download episodes, just stream them usually. But does that go into the views count? I'll start downloading it. If it doesn't, Mrs ADHD, loved your filming. You are a pair of legends. I don't like this letter.
I'm so sorry.
It's not about me, and that's the only reason I'm here. Also, love the irony of neither of you wanting to take the iron back. I don't know what this is about.
I know. I'm sorry. I included this by accident, and you won't know any of it. And most people won't if they don't listen to the extra content. I'm sorry.
It goes on and on and on. I have to speak to someone. If you're not clear, ADHD Towers is a video James and Sam do, which I think I'm on, but I've never seen it. Of behind the scenes nonsense of their genuinely fucking bonkers lifestyle. And if you're I'm gonna say Spotify subscriber or Patreon, look at me, Jake.
Yeah.
Look at me knowing words.
I know, that's
So
incredible.
professional.
You can watch it. Just awful letter. It goes on. Can't do it.
Just quickly
Thanks
to answer.
the wrong shell.
Thanks the wrong shell. Actually, you know, as much as we go on about stats, we don't actually give a fuck, because by adding extra content that people don't really watch, it affects our standings in the rankings and all that. But we're not doing it for that.
No.
And now Spotify doesn't measure downloads; it just measures plays. So thank you for asking. But yeah,
and it's really kind of you, but we don't care because we just do it for shits and giggles for the people that want it. We know we're niche, don't we?
Yeah,
it's quite a big niche, though.
Apparently, yeah,
big niche.
Ding, definitely.
Yes. Anyway.
In terms again, writing letters, presumably.
Yeah.
Internationally, James, really good question. We are, if I check my notes.
Get in, it does it now.
Up by one country to exactly 165 countries, it says here. What are the chances? Literally zero. Which incidentally, was once found to be the same number as 10 by Sam. Sometimes I do very, very brief pauses so people.
That wasn't.
And it was Sam. It was maybe 2 seconds at most.
No, it wasn't even that long.
2 seconds is a long time.
Yeah, I know, but it's you know it's a narrative and comedic device. But,
again, as we're trying to move the podcast forward quickly, it's great that we keep stopping it to explain the fact that it's just a 1 second pause.
Maybe, I don't know, just editorially, if it's a blue bit, shut the fuck up. I've gone too far. I've gone too far for myself with that joke. I didn't like that, Sam. I didn't like saying that, even as a joke. I take it back because you're my friend. Right, this week's country is almost certainly not Bangladesh. So a hearty, James, the script guy's taking the piss now. I don't know what these letters are. I'm so sorry, Bangladesh. Yalo Ebam Spagatama. Oh, God. To the Kabaddi team who listen to the podcast, so Alex's voice makes them really angry before a match with their biggest rivals. I used to love watching Kabaddi on Channel 4 and would hold my breath and say Kabaddi, 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 Kabaddi all the time while running around in a circle. Did you used to do that?
No, I used to watch it, but I
it.
didn't do that.
That's what they do.
No, I know, but I didn't. I mean, I don't hit people while I'm watching boxing. I mean,
I know.
Yeah,
it was only last year.
What an excellent life hack. Anyway, moving on, as usual, this self-scanning system at a major supermarket chain in the UK, where all the scanners were locked into their holsters, and I got very angry with and tried to rip one of the scanners out of said holster while screaming at the poor member of staff whilst hypomanic of a podcast, is a tragedy in 3 parts. As usual, we pick a theme. Yep, last week was about ADHD and borderline personality disorder, and this week we're talking about decision-making, different types of decisions, how ADHD impacts it. So thanks to Nettie, Natbags, and Murphy on Discord for raising this. As usual, the 3 parts include the Prince Edward of evidence, Alex the Psycho.
Hello.
Education monkey. I did want to go with Andrew, but I wasn't sure. Telling us all about the topic.
Yeah, I definitely would have done.
Our personal reflections on the theme, and then finally a bit of Gabby Logan in the last section. So, Alex,
James,
yes.
I've got like a bar in my house, even though I don't drink, which is ironic. But Pride of Place is an original mug, a Prince Andrew and Fergie wedding souvenir mug from the proper.
Amazing.
I love it.
Is it filled?
Holy shit!
So, Alex, I've decided to allow you to talk. So, go on.
I don't think I can.
I think you have to. You cut what I said once out of it. You're gonna have to bleep that out.
I don't. I'll leave it with the tech guy.
Okay, it's a decision you're going to have to make. See what I've done. You may have heard us bang on and on and on about executive functions, which is an umbrella term, James, not about literal umbrellas, used to describe a set of higher level mental skills that are controlled by the fronty bits, the frontal lobes of the brain. There's loads of theories about what executive functions are and which parts of the brain regulate these executive functions. But in general, they include these sort of higher level thinking skills, organizing shit, prioritizing, knowing what risk is, working memory, super short memory, paying attention to crap, cognitive inhibition, so stopping thinking, and probably more. So even though the evidence for executive function in ADHD is mixed, it's pretty much anti-ADHD. Executive functions are. That's not an auntie with ADHD unless you're from Stoke. It's anti-ADHD.
I say auntie.
Do you?
I don't. I say auntie.
Maybe
Yeah.
I've got my geographical regions wrong. Although ADHD is genetic, so it might be anti-ADHD. I like that joke. Adults with ADHD often, possibly always, have reduced executive function. Not all of them, some of them. As the parts of the brain which carry out these processes are the parts which often look different or work different in our brains. Not James, though, because he doesn't have a brain. It just turned into dust at some point in the 18th century because he's...
Yeah, he's a Dracula. We all know he's a Dracula. Ha ha ha. Whereas you've got like the man with two brains. You're the man with several brains. Only they're in jars labelled with dates, aren't they?
I mean, that's also what the man with two brains had, isn't it? He had jars.
Yeah.
Normal.
Yeah.
No, that's young Frankenstein.
Amazing.
Man with two brains was Steve Martin. Anyway, yes.
Which you had in jars, James, are you admitting?
Yes. Just
because you said although yours are in jars.
Fuck.
Making decisions is a pretty complex and multi-step process. Dogs don't do it, do they really? They just react. You have to understand what your options are in the first place. You've got to compare them to something else. You've got to consider which ones you want to take. And then you have to make a choice. Horrible. These steps require you've got to focus on the information. They require you to remember little details about them. You've got to imagine in the future different outcomes, the consequences, blah, 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 blah. And all of those abilities are part of the executive function package. And unsurprisingly, if your executive functions are impaired, it can inhibit appropriate decision-making. So you might make decisions which have, in inverted commas, rabbit ears, unfavorable consequences, such as, making the decision to do alcohol and drugs every day for 25 years, dangerous driving, frequent change of jobs, choosing to make a podcast with two complete nutcases, as well as difficulties in sustaining stable relationships with those nutcases.
We'll just wait.
But everyone makes bad choices, surely.
Oh God, it's so organic, isn't it? It's almost like that thought just came into her head and she wanted you to clarify, Alex.
Yeah, but they did. Excellent question, Sam. You have made a bad choice, Sam. One very, very bad choice in particular. In fact, I can see it on the screen. He can't see it in the mirror.
You should have seen the last one.
It's just relative.
He can't see it in the mirror as an underappreciated joke. That was very good, Alex.
Thank you, because you were Dracula.
Yes.
Was the last one 6 months ago, Sam? I don't think there is a person alive who hasn't made a bad decision. Maybe Elon Musk, because he's a genius.
Right. I'm getting ahead of this because you're going to fucking kneecap me and go straight into doing this. But what about fucking ADHD?
Well, what is ADHD? It's a neurodevelopmental disorder, James.
What?
Don't you know this already? It feels like something you should know. You know those comments on YouTube about you being ADHD chancellor, absolutely right. Didn't even know that.
I know, terrible.
There is, James, for once, quite a bit of research into ADHD, and it's interesting stuff. First of all, there are different ways to categorize types of decision making. Still feel really bad doing the Brummie accent, even though Jack's told me it's okay and he's a Brummie, so that's fine. Very much that I've got Brummie friends of being offensive. The decision-making deficits...
Brummie. Carry on.
Yeah, that's a fair point. And a really important distinction to make on a world global podcast. I'm being really horrible today, Sam. Do you like it? It's a new thing
Yeah.
I'm trying.
Oh, that's not horrible. Look at her, Jesus. Look at her face. It's fierce.
It is terrifying.
Mm.
The decision-making deficits of ADHD adults have been tested under laboratory settings using tests like the brilliant named Iowa gambling task, where adults with ADHD were shown to make, if they're honest, more disadvantageous choices. Or bad decisions, James. That's just another way of saying bad decisions.
Fucking hell.
ADHD is associated with impaired decision-making in tasks that involve a significant degree of cognitive control. James, that means if you have to be clever and think about it, we make poor decisions.
Bastard.
No, and James, just to be clear, not just in Iowa. That was where the gambling was made. It's thought that this is because of the differences that are in the front bit of our brains. We also suspect, and this is true with me for sure, that effective decision-making, another or maybe part of the executive functions, can be different in people with ADHD. And affective decision-making is making emotional decisions. So affective is just a posh word for emotional, or using emotions. And there is evidence to suggest that people with ADHD are worse. So the emotional decision making is different, not necessarily worse, but cognitive decisions, cold ones, like, which restaurant table, if I'm offered any of them, do I take? You don't care. It's just a logical question. That we might be worse at. Do I brush my teeth or comb my hair first? God knows, doesn't matter. But possibly we're better, or certainly quicker, at emotional or affective, James, decision making. So choosing to have a chocolate bar based on the fact that you like chocolate instead of, for example, not having one. James does have an emotional relationship with chocolate. He loves it.
Very deep one.
Yeah, actually, so do I. One meta-analysis, which, remember, I like the word very much because it's big and exclusive and makes people feel bad about themselves. But it's just a study that gathers all the other studies together and tries to make a decision. This reported that there were well-documented decision-making deficits, and remember that means not just bad, but different, in adults with ADHD, which are of similar magnitude as our attention deficits.
Wow.
For James, what that means is our decision-making is as bad as our paying attention. It really is a beat, James.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Is this where decision paralysis comes in? I get this all the time.
We should just do a podcast, you and me, Sam, because that's an excellent question, James.
Well, James wrote it for me.
Of course he did. He always has. That's part of it. Sometimes James even writes, excellent question, Sam. James is an idiot. I love that bit.
I know.
And people think it. Yes, it is. Yes, decision paralysis is a tricky one. Sometimes brilliantly called analysis paralysis.
Oh, I like that.
I like it too. This is something that lots of people with ADHD report. And remember, self-report is a tricky one, but we do. There isn't loads of research on this subject, which means we don't know, of course, not that it isn't real. This is a sense of overwhelm related to having too many choices or the need to make a decision, often a cold, logical decision. Precise reasons why? No one knows. Probably combination of executive dysfunction, maybe perfectionism, fear of failure, worry about the consequences and the risk. Effectively, analysis paralysis, or decision paralysis, or sometimes task paralysis, causes you to have this intense emotional reaction when faced with what appears to be, from the outside, a simple decision.
Do meds help? Because I get asked this all the time. They don't help for me, but do they help for some people?
I get asked it all the time as well, and on meds. Excellent question as always, Sam. James, you're an idiot. James wrote that. It's so weird. It's just funny. So again, crap data, and even the data we have is a little bit conflicting. One study looked at some of the neurophysiology, that's how the brain works, of making decisions when you've got ADHD. And it seems that adults with ADHD have a pattern impaired learning. So it isn't a specific learning difficulty, but we do learn differently. So feedback and intensity to reward is one of the ways in which humans learn. And if you don't really respond well to feedback and your reward systems are a bit buggered, it might make sense that you learn differently as well. So decreased valence, which I like. So being able to specify whether your feelings or emotions are positive or negative or just neutral, and not being able to sense reward properly. Oh, this might be behind our poor decision making. And as for the meds, do the meds help with those things? Well, probably not. Methylphenidate in a study didn't have an effect on decision performance. So probably not. But a really fascinating study looking at military leaders with ADHD showed that providing a quiet room for them to make decisions in improved their decision-making capability. Which makes sense, because if you remove distractions, you might be able to focus on the cognitive process needed to evaluate that decision-making process. Can I quickly add, though, that you're much more likely to have autism if you've got ADHD, and that can cloud those things, because people like me with ADHD probably only make better decisions in a noisy environment.
Anyone that's watching the video for that would have noticed that I suddenly disappeared.
Your sound's gone weird.
I like it. Can you say biddy, 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 James?
Give me 2 seconds.
Say biddy, biddy, biddy.
I will not.
Say, these aren't the droids you're looking for.
Is that better? Is that better?
Oh, yes,
Well,
it is.
I mean, it's worse in that we can hear your voice clearly.
My computer made the decision to suddenly say your microphone and webcam are disconnected and wouldn't let me reconnect them. I disappeared for a bit, and then obviously it switched my microphone. Anyway, I'm going to make
Everyone's a critic, aren't they?
I'm going to make the decision to call an end to this bollocks. We'll take a break, and we'll be back in part 2, spelt TOO. Brilliant. Alex, hi.
Hi. What's up?
Hello, Governor.
Welcome back to episode 126 of the ADHD Adults podcast, where we are talking about ADHD and decision making. James, I don't know what this part is.
You've never heard it before.
Or personal reflections.
Yeah, well done.
What are your personal reflections,
I give that 8 out of 10. Al, what do you think? I mean, she missed the personal reflection
8.5.
bit, but good, brilliant.
Thanks.
I'm not going to claim this as a strength of my ADHD, because I could never know. You can never know if it's my ADHD or not. But I've always been a very fast decision maker. And it's not just impulsively, pick that thing. I very, very quickly consider the options that I've got and will make a decision and stick with it. Now, again, like I say, I don't know if that's because of my ADHD or if that's just the way in which my brain works.
So scientifically, it is proven that we make fast decisions, on average faster than average. It's just we don't make the right ones more.
But I would argue, based on what you say, at least, if you think about the podcast and you say that every decision that James has made has worked out, all of those decisions were kind of 10-minute, run it through my head. These are the options, these are the outcomes, this is the cost benefit, right, we're going with that. And I'm not saying I haven't made a bad decision, because Sam, for example. But,
yeah, she's on it, isn't she? Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
We'll deal with this in top tips, James. But you know how much I hate this bit, but your decision making over the podcast is based on a genuine history of understanding marketing and popular culture and what works, not a neurological disorder. Because if it was, every decision you made that I've said no to, I would have said yes if it was ADHD, right? But I didn't. I said no. So it's just that you're good at making decisions about this thing. What you've done is you've combined your personal and learned strengths with your job. It's not the same. You do make fast decisions. About this, you make good ones because you're good at it.
But bad ones, I can't even think of any other decision I've ever made in my life.
Shall I do cocaine for 20 years? Yes or no?
Oh, yes. That's a brilliant decision. Financially, not.
No, James, it's not.
I had some fun times.
Fun time.
Anyway, Sam, decision making. Oh God.
Yeah, I'm not good at decisions. Really, my whole family are terrible. There'd be nights where we'd decide that we were going to have a takeaway when I was older and I'd come home, and we would spend hours trying to decide which place to order the takeaway from, and then each
yeah.
had to decide. And there were times when we just didn't eat sometimes because we literally couldn't decide what, and we'd end up all screaming at each other, and because we were all starving, and going to the video shop was a nightmare. I am terrible at making decisions, and especially like well, we all know, don't we? I get paralyzed all the time because I can't make a decision because I can't decide whether to brush my teeth or shower first, and then that can just leave me. So now I've got a list. Yeah, I'm terrible. I don't know what else to say. My whole family are. I don't. Sometimes that can be good though. I think for other people and stuff.
Yeah, so that's what I would say. You can make decisions for other people, like me, for example, stepping in and answering emails because they need to be answered, and buying clothes when you didn't like what I wore, therefore making decisions about the way I looked, for example. But it took me years to really fully accept and understand how bad you are at decision making, to the point where if I ever asked you anything, just out of politeness, again, take the takeaway analogy is brilliant. Should we get a takeaway? Yeah. What do you fancy? Indian, Chinese? And then just have this blank, panicked face staring back at me.
Can I ask a question about it?
Yeah.
Because I think, Sam, and this is telling you who you are, so I'm really happy for you to say, no, that's not me. But I think if you take yourself
No,
out
that's
of it...
not me.
I was holding up a picture of a big German man, to be fair. It was you. So, if you're on your own, you just order some food, would it be easy for you because no one's watching and no one gives a shit, it's just you? Or would it still be more difficult?
Yeah, no, that'd be difficult.
Interesting.
I'd never order food if I was on my own.
Why not?
Just for me?
Yeah.
No. Why would I do that? That's weird.
When you make decisions,
No.
for me, when you give me often you'll make a really emotionally helpful decision for me and just tell me to do it, and I don't know. You probably don't even know you do it, but you do. And when you're not
I
involved,
do it all the time for other people.
Yeah, it's really helpful. But when you're involved, I'm saying I think that's the problem, because the problem with decision making in ADHD is that it's such a combination of literal executive function, but also RSD and fear of having an effect on people and having to live with that. That's the social anxiety we all have.
It's weird with other people. I can just see things objectively and logically, and I'm like, this is the thing you need to do. Just do it.
What if you had to make a decision for your family on what they ate, but you weren't eating and you were leaving?
Yeah, that'd be easy.
So it's you're taking yourself out. Do you see? It's the RSD thing. And what we're conflating slightly as well is the difference between good decision and quick decision. And what good means, So one of the things I've realized working with James is that, and psychology says this, is actually just making a decision, even if it's subjectively not as good, can be better, which is ironic because uncertainty causes stress. If you make a decision that isn't perfect, great. We say all the time, don't we, James? Perfection is the enemy of good. And they say, oh God, what shall I do? I used to spend hours in West End video shop in Uttoxeter when I was 13 trying to choose a fucking video. And I'm still the same on Netflix now. Cannot do it. So I just watch reruns of Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
It's all I watch. and that's all I do. And then, oh God, it's impossible. My wife's the same. Asks me all the time, right? She'll give me two options, one of which she wants, but she can't say it. And then if I don't give the right one, she'll go, yeah, but, and then rationalize, instead of just saying we're doing this. And it's the same thing. It's that RSD. So I think it's a very human thing, but I think on top of that analysis paralysis or task paralysis is an ADHD problem.
We've kind of segued into your personal reflections. Do you want to carry on, Al?
Yeah, I mean, metacognition. What do I make decisions? I don't know. Am I good at them? Don't know any of those things because I'm not paying attention. Risk awareness. Remember, we're not necessarily hardwired to take risks. We're hardwired to not fully understand which risks are worse than others. So again, James and me, so I'm and Sam as well, and lesser James. I'm a non-directive coach. And that's not a profession, it's a diagnosis. The thought of being responsible for a decision gives me the cold sweats. And so that panic of being involved, like Sam and the food thing, same. I'm not. Most of my decisions with James were literally the opposite of what he made me do anyway. For many of the things that he's always been right about, that's just how it is. Have I learned my lesson, James? No, not at all. So yeah, shit at them. Shit at them. I'm pretty logical, but only if I don't have a dog in the fight.
I think that's a reasonable reflection. And on that note, we've got time for a game, Alex, as always.
I don't think we have. I make
no, we definitely have. So this is about a printer, and a printer not working. So, how did I ADHD my printer? Was I printing out stickers and I'd put them in the wrong way and they all got stuck inside the roller and it took a long time to unstick them all and pull them out? Did I buy, those copy ink cartridges that still have the chip on? So, it's cheaper, like half the price.
Yeah.
Did I buy those, but for the wrong printer?
Okay.
Or did I somehow manage to break the document feeder with a sleeping tablet?
That's a weird one. That's so weird. It's a weird one to make up.
Is it? Or am I trying to throw you because you've been getting them recently, if they're too obvious?
Yes. I think you're doing a double throw by adding in a weird... I don't think you would waste a sleeping tablet, so it's not that one. I don't think your stickers got stuck because you just saw the word sticker and went, that sticks, that'll stick. So I think you used a generic cartridge.
Yes.
Oh,
back in the win column. No, I for some reason balanced half one milligram of clonazepam. Just balanced it next to the document feeder, and it tumbled in. It is, and it tumbled in, and then as it fed in the documents, that got crushed and stuck in the document feeder. And I only realised after the third document got stuck, and there was loads of white powder, which normally is a good sign in my house, but this wasn't. Inside the printer. So that, I believe, means with 14 all. Is that right? Something like that. Anyway,
14, 15 is.
Yeah. To me.
No.
To you, Chuckle Brothers. Anyway, yeah. We'll be back in part 3 for some spunk trumpeting. See you in a bit.
Chuckle Brothers.
Spunk trumpet.
Welcome back to episode 126 of the ADHD Adults podcast. As always, in part 3, we're spunk trumpet top tip going to be loganing everything around decision making, whether it's effective or cold and logical. We're doing top tips. Who's got a tip for me? James, coming straight to you because it's read in the script. Oh, yeah, nice.
Yes.
Any top tips?
Yeah, they're not good, obviously. That's a callback to the first probably 30 episodes where my tips were practically not tips in any way. What I would say is that if you can, is if you're stuck between the Sam's infamous paralysis of do I shower or brush my teeth first or whatever it was. If you're stuck in that situation of analysis paralysis, ask yourself, what are the consequences of picking each of the options? What's the consequences if I shower first? What are the consequences if I pick my teeth, if I brush my teeth first? And if no consequences favor either particular choice, then toss a coin, ask the loved one. It doesn't matter. There isn't a consequence. And I know that sounds, is that Daisy?
I'm so sorry. I'm just going to deal with that.
That's fine. I know that sounds ridiculous, but he's just smashed something in his house. That's amazing.
Carry on.
It fell off.
So if there are genuinely no consequences between that binary choice, then use fate, chance, a friend, because it doesn't matter. You've just told yourself it doesn't matter which one I pick, and it might help, but it's important to emotionally accept it's not your fault that your brain's developed in a way that makes decision making difficult. Oh, Alex is grim. I can see he's typed that in later. And he's annoyed.
Yeah.
Sam.
Well, he's halfway through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't really got a lot of tips on this because I'm rubbish at decisions, but things that I've done over the years because I'm rubbish is if it's an important decision, I make a pro and con list and then see which list is longer. That's what I normally do. I ask other people. I remember when I've had to move jobs in the past and I've had to crowdsource information on, it used to be on Facebook, didn't it? And the thing that I do for task paralysis is when you're not in such a high emotional state and you can think, then make a list of like the order of and print it off and put it in your bathroom. That's really specific.
Classic top tip.
And flipping a coin is a good one. When I was in the coaching course the other day and I was working with this girl and she was like, which one should we do first? And I'm going, I don't know. And she's going, what should we do first? So we flipped a coin on her phone, and me and James do that all the time. If we need to make a decision, flip a coin.
It's a coin flipping app.
Yeah. There are loads. And like for gaming people as well, they have like dice stuff. It doesn't matter. But I know that as well. I'm really, like we said, I'm really good at making decisions for other people. When you were saying about the non-directive coaching, yes, that is the form of coaching I do. But I have to stop myself all the time because actually I can tell somebody exactly what to do. So I think other people sometimes is really good because I can tell you exactly what to do all the time. You probably won't take it on board, but
and that's it, isn't it? Yeah.
I know, yeah. Alex.
Yeah, I mean, emotional acceptance, as James said, is so important. Not just emotional acceptance that you've got to make a decision, but emotional acceptance that you can't. It's okay to get paralyzed between brushing teeth and cleaning hair. That's an executive dysfunction. It's a disability. This self-berating and internalized stigma people with ADHD constantly do, getting angry with myself. Come on, Alex, you bloody idiot. It's ableist, it's internalized ableism, and we don't really need to do that. At the same time, accepting that if you're really honest, you've already made the decision. Most of the hard work is persuading yourself to accept that you have. We usually know what the heart wants, what it wants, almost always. It makes a decision, they reckon, according to some really good papers, almost in a millisecond before you even know you have.
I don't think my heart does.
You don't think your heart wants what it wants?
I don't think my heart makes a decision.
I mean, I don't mean literally the organ. I mean, we tend to make all decisions emotionally, and then we have to post hoc rationalize it. We think we don't, but we tend to. I'm not guessing here, Sam. This is what the psychological research says.
I think I'm different.
Yeah, I mean, I think
you are
definitely
different. Yeah,
no question about that.
That's not up for debate, is it? Really?
As a top tip, I have a phrase which I use all the time, especially at work, especially when I'm asked to make a decision by somebody else. Can you do this or will you do this?
Teeth and hair. Dog food, teeth and hair.
That's just chanting. Are you ready? You can practice this because it's hard to say to people. If it's now, it's no.
Oh yeah, you said this.
I say it all the time because people frighten the life out of people with that. So, will you take this job? Will you do this? Will you do that now? Do you need me to make a decision now? Yes, please. It's urgent. Then it's always going to be a no. If you give me 24 hours to think about it, it might not be a no.
There's no way I could ever say that to anyone.
I say it all the time.
Oh God, I couldn't.
But I always figure that if they're
vomit
pushing
in my
me,
own mouth.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. I wish I could.
A really good tip I call choose or delete, and you can. So I don't know if you still have a recorder, if you record programs on the telly and you're going through, what should we watch? We've recorded 7,000 films from film 4. Which one do we watch? I say, go to the very first one. If you don't want to watch it now, you either watch it now or delete it now. They're your two choices rather than watch it or not watch it. Because if you don't want to watch it now, you probably never will. And it's useful not just for films, but in lots of areas as well. It's similar for hoarding.
That reminds me very much of our Netflix My List, which has got like 60 things on it, and I'm not going to watch 55 of those things, actually.
Yeah, and you thought you would at the time, or you think, oh, well, I will when
Yeah.
it's winter, and then winter comes and you're like, I'll watch that in the summer. For some reason, I'll be a different person. So choose or delete can be a really effective. It's true if you've got, a cardboard box that's a particularly good one upstairs, and you're like, well, I'll save that.
Yeah.
Either use it now or throw it away.
It's a big issue that we've got in terms of and hoarding, and it's difficult because Sam has this emotional relationship with inanimate objects, and therefore throwing away a teddy bear can't be done. Throwing away something we are never going to use again, and even selling it. And she sometimes accepts that if you sell it, well, if it goes to a loving house, maybe we could do that. But it's
I do use her teddy bears when I'm staying over.
Amazing. Right. Anyway, that was episode 126 of the ADHD Adults podcast, ADHD and decision making. If by miracle you enjoyed this episode, why not support the charity ADHD Adult UK that the podcast raises money for? Or Alex will have to carry on something spherical head, something money. I haven't slept much this week, Al, to be honest. I was too tired to even Google anything. If you want to get in touch, contact us on the Discard, the socials, etc. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye all.